Hello, I'm Gail Marie from Six Dimensions of Healing. In these times of uncertainty, fear is rife. It's as if our once easygoing community members have grown horns and turned into something we just don't recognise. These are certainly the worst of times for everyone. Yet most people will only get a mild case of COVID-19 and 98% will survive and thrive. I've certainly never experienced a worldwide pandemonium such as this in my lifetime, and I hope never to again. But it's not the COVID-19 I'm talking about. The real pandemic is fear. Fear turns once rational human beings into weapons of unknown destruction to themselves and others. Fear has been killing people for centuries. You're probably spending a lot of time at home now, and even though you try not to watch the news, it's difficult to avoid reports which display this fear. It's viral on all streams of social media. Even friends and family have succumbed to the frenzy. It seems like it's the only subject available right now. So it's up to you to become the spin doctor and change the subject. For instance, if there are reports of airport closures, notice the ones that are open. If there are hospitals filling without beds available, introduce the ones in Wuhan that are being dismantled because they're no longer needed. There are 14 of those. When this is the worst thing in the world, point out that pollution has dropped in countries that are no longer flying, such as China and Italy. Fear brings out the worst in people, but crises can bring out the very best in humanity. An example is the schools may be closed across America, but they're using them as temporary kitchens to feed those in need. There is always an opportunity to shine in times of chaos. Why would you want to? Because it not only helps the people around you to feel better, but it will benefit you. It's not others you need to change because you can't. You only need to get on top of your own fear and turn that fear in the direction of freedom. Your life is never about what happens because you can't control that. It is and always will be about how you handle what happens. And if you find yourself in isolation, then it's a wonderful time to develop new patterns, ones that set you up for joy and success. Oh, it's raining. I wrote an article recently on setting up your day, so this is a great time to begin. Your pattern of life has already been interrupted and it may never be the same again. So now is a great time to take up mindfulness, meditation, nature walks, preferably not in the rain, or maybe so, and all of those things you put off previously. The things that are good for your well-being, and they cost you nothing but help you to connect to who you really are. It will uncover the valuable space amongst all that chaos. Fear will always be a part of humanity, but we don't have to let it stay with us like an old friend. Fear is company with uncertainty and isolation and depression, misunderstanding and hopelessness. It brings out the worst of humanity, and when we're in this space, all we can see is more of the same. It feels like it's never going to end. It's a real Groundhog Day. It's a little like standing in a deep hole and looking outward. All you're going to see is more of the same hole, all the way to the horizon. Freedom is in the same space as love, hopefulness, encouragement, opportunity, inspiration, joy, appreciation. It's the very best of humanity. When you stand in this space, you feel sure and powerful and have much to give yourself, your family, and everyone who connects with you. You become a beacon of light and inspiration. The same situation is going on all around you, but you see it differently. Whenever there are the worst of times, there is also opportunity to experience the best of times. The worst of times is shrouded in darkness, and the best of times is presented when you wear the night vision goggles. Your night vision goggles are the feelings of hope and encouragement. We all have the opportunity to see the glass as half empty or the glass as half full. There is no right and wrong in this. It's our perception only. I remember travelling to see my parents just last year. They live 4 hours away. I was driving with my husband Alan and my 16-year-old son Jamison. There was only one highway, the Bruce Highway, and mostly only one lane, so traffic is really unpredictable. Teenagers never like getting up early, but I insisted that we leave by 7 a.m. that Friday morning. It was stuck in my head, and so I made sure we did despite Jamison's teenage protests. Our trip was enjoyable, and on the way back a few days later, we called into a country coffee shop. There on the counter was a local newspaper with the headlines, "Bruce Highway closed for 6 hours after a tanker crash." The day that happened was the day we were travelling. It was that Friday morning. The time of the accident was about 10 minutes after we'd passed through that very location. Had we left later, we would have had a very long wait, or we could have even been involved in the accident. The moral of the story is that you can't see the bigger picture. You don't know what it is, so you need to be ready to read the signs. These are the inner signs, and you can't see them when you're standing in the darkness in fear. You need the night vision goggles of hope and encouragement to shed some light. So below I've included a PDF for you to understand your own inner signs. We call this your mood barometer, as it's your inner guidance system. Also included in that PDF is a mood map, so you can plot your path from fear to freedom all the way. Let me know what your greatest fear is and how you handle it, and let's do this together. I know you can.